Landing a high-performance fighter on the rolling deck of an aircraft carrier requires skills unmatched in aviation. But the design of training programs to teach those skills to Navy pilots has often been a piecemeal integration of components from other systems. While they worked, they were not always the most cost-efficient. Flight simulators and classroom instruction often lagged behind the introduction of a new trainer aircraft. At a time when the military is being asked to do more with fewer dollars, the Navy is being challenged to maintain and even upgrade the quality and efficiency of pilot training. The McDonnell Douglas T-45 training system is designed to help them do that. It's the first totally integrated undergraduate flight training system, a complete package including aircraft, simulators, course material, and system support. The first T-45 training squadron is at Kingsville Naval Air Station, Texas, where the old classroom chalkboard is giving way to sophisticated video screens.
The mission of Trade Wing 2 is to provide strike pilots to the fleet, to train pilots to go to the carriers. We're supported by the Naval Air Station, Kingsville. Everybody that has a tailhook, we train them down here. We've only recently really started to take a look at efficiencies and economy of scales and training. We've worked very hard to try to put systems in place where we can automate where we can cut teaching, manpower, infrastructure, all the overhead that we have in trying to do training, and to come up with more efficient training devices, T-45 being one of those, of course. A premier one, in fact.
The T-45TS is a totally integrated flight training system. Consists of a T-45A aircraft, both instrument flight trainers and operational flight trainers, a training integration system, which is a computerized network which tracks and logs all of the student activities, a training support center to modify courseware, and then, of course, PC-based laser disc computer-assisted instruction. And then we also have an electronic classroom where this can be shown on a screen along with stand-up teaching.
The nice thing about the electronic classroom is it focuses on learning objectives. I've flown for almost 30 years and 7,000 flight hours. I probably know more about the T-45 after 5 days of electronic classroom than any airplane I've ever flown. And part of that is because it cuts right to the nuts and bolts of what you need to know, and it doesn't bore you with a particular person's opinion or biased information. Each electronic classroom lecture is exactly the same with the exact same learning objectives for every single student that goes through. And the instructor follows a specific set of learning criteria through a course map that gives you the exact same results every single time, and you're tested the same. The bottom line is it's not personality dependent.
The whole curriculum, the whole program is based on computer-generated whatever, be it course work or graphics or whatever. The computer-aided instruction, which is a student with a computer terminal, it's pleasant to look at because it moves, it's automated, and it leads the student through a very logical process to get them all the way through the lesson. But what you really do in this system is you improve quality phenomenally. We can cut down the amount of time that it takes to get them up on the learning curve, if you will, not only with the academics, but also with the simulators.
We have an IFT, which is basically just a cockpit for the student practices instrument flying. Then we have the OFT, or operational flight trainer, that has a large dome, if you will, with projected images. And the student can get in there. He can actually fly formation on another aircraft, let him see what it's like for the first time that he has to go do it. What this does is it not only enhances the training, but it cuts down on the cost of flying the aircraft.
It allows you to do things that you would never, hopefully never, have to do in an airplane. To eject, to fly into horrible weather conditions. The realism of the visual trainer is the fact that if you get out of there nervous and feeling kind of drained, then the training is great. And we can get a chance not to just see if the student knows his emergency procedures, but we get an opportunity to see what he's made of a little bit and see if he's one of those kids that has the right stuff that we want to do this.
John, we're going to have you take off here on runway 13.
The instrument flight trainer is unlike the OFT where you have all the visual picture. It's strictly just looking at the cockpit gauges. But it's where the student learns to develop a scan, instrument scan. The instructor can give him a variety of scenarios of weather's too bad, it is foul, things like that. Can also give him a variety of the emergencies that could occur during instrument type conditions that anybody that flies in that environment would have to know how to handle those, so he can practice all those things without it actually happening to him in real life.
The T-45A is a derivative of the British Hawk aircraft. The one that we have designed and built for our Navy customer is modified to make it suitable to land on the aircraft carrier. The student can sit in either the front seat or the back seat, and the visibility out of the back seat is good enough that the instructor can land the aircraft in the back if he needs to. In the old days, in the old F-9s, you couldn't see. If you're landing from the back seat, you just kind of hoped. But this is, and from what I've talked to the pilots, all of them love flying the airplane. It's been a real great airplane. McDonnell Douglas is doing contractor logistics support for the entire system. We not only maintain the aircraft, we manage and operate the ground training system, we modify the curriculum, we modify software, hardware, firmware, courseware. We do everything we can to keep our customer happy.
When we look for efficiencies, if we take a look at what we're flying right now, T2s and A4s, it costs about $1,260 an hour per flight hour to fly a T2. $1,600 to fly a TA4. About $396 to fly a T-45. So you can see the economies right there. We typically can produce a quarter more of a pilot by using that whole training system than we can in a T2A4. So for every 4 pilots that we qualify using the old system of T2A4, we can do 5 at appreciably less cost. And the thing that is really required in this whole system, we were talking about quality before, the quality of the product that we put out is so much better.
One of the things that we do in naval aviation that nobody else gets a chance to do is go to the boat. We're looking forward to doing that in the T-45, but that's really what sets the naval aviator apart. And it's a day that you never forget. You don't have to write it down. You can remember the day, the hour. Everything that we do in our flight training is to get the student ready to go to the ship. And at the point where they go that first time, that's when they feel like they've arrived. It's that catapult and that trap on an aircraft carrier that they call home about and are really excited about. And they'll never forget.
We want to thank the students and staff at Kingsville for helping us demonstrate the T-45 system. With successful completion of the system's evaluation, the first students should begin T-45 training early next year.